We have to be ready to look at ourselves now and say, hey, what's motivating you right now? Because if there's nothing there, there's no fuel in the tank, baby, and we need to do something about that. And obviously the healing, because,
Right.
nature, we're in a connection here already. We're in a marriage. It's just about whether we want to go back and reestablish that connection. Any blue zone, just find one around where you are. Any blue zone, when you get in that area, if you're still one of those people that you're cool with nature, you love the birds and things, but you still feel a little anxious when you're there, you want to get out of there. Like you want to go, maybe downtown, go to, you maybe have the city bug, right? What you want to do is you want to get into areas that have a stronger dose of nature, because nature is not the same in every place that you go. And so if you go into a blue zone, one day, 2 days, deja vu start increasing at least 2 to 3 times about this recollection that you had about self. It's like I always call it the smell that reminds you of grandma's house. Like you just get triggered with all this different stuff. So it increases the rate of that, because what's happening is that atmosphere that's around you. Look at the term atmosphere. The atmosphere that's actually around you needs to be regenerated, needs to be patched. So these are ways that's why I say as above, so below, that you can use tools that may be directly around you, maybe one plane flight away, to actually change your entire life. But if you're trying to do it another way, because then it becomes like, if you're trying to do it in the fake matrix, as I call it, it's always like the moment I get this amount of money, the moment I get this job, the moment that she grows up, the moment that he leaves school, the moment that, and it never stops. So the truth is that you have to be back on the wheel and be like, okay, you know what? This is common sense though. If I put myself somewhere where I can charge and regenerate, then I will have more power, not less. And so let me go get some grounding, and let me go ahead and fly it from here if it's worth it to you. Now that's another thing. That's why motivation is important. And even some people are motivated by the fire. Some people are motivated by, let's say, the fear, because the fear is the fire. That's the fairy, right? This is the kind of thing where the person literally always needs the fire under their butt in order to do the next thing. They need to feel like there's an impending disaster, which is immature. So the thing is that when you get to a certain level of maturity, it's like you don't need that fire under your butt. But until then, generally, most people make big changes in their life when some disaster happens. I always say prevent the disaster or get out of the disaster now by just boom. And that's why they say they move in mysterious ways. It's just all of a sudden they're like, yo, what are you doing? Packing my stuff. Where are you going? What do you mean packing your stuff? You see just how flabbergasted the environment and the frequency that you're in is about, if you're trying to make an advent out of that. And that's when you catch it. That's when you realize, like I said, let's say if there's any dark part of the reality, it's those vibrations that want to keep you in that same whole pattern. And once you start realizing what's going on, there's other notions, like when your energy gets drained. You're about to go do something big, and a person always calls you and argues with you, and then you go in there and now you're all in the dumps. Now you got to pretend that you're happy. When you got to watch out for that kind of stuff, and you got to remember this is about you. Like before you start talking about everybody else, remember other people are on different levels of time. So this means that person that you're sitting next to, while you may be in, I don't know, 532 9B, they may be on 506D. And just because you guys are in the same space doesn't actually mean that you're on that same wavelength. So we have to remember that actually, when we go into another wavelength, we warp the reality around us. Then all of a sudden you're in another country. Now you've changed into another planet. Countries are the as below planets. So you've gone to another planet now. Now there's a new language, there's a new custom. So now you got a new consort, because all the planets are wives, are wombs, right? So now you have this new consort. So that's adventure, right? That's the Burkhart, which is the original Indiana Jones. That's the mindset, the explorer society. That's the essence of that. And that's why I was saying that, see, when things get closer to the bottom of the vortex, when it's about to turn around, you only see everything at its distortion and its just greatest distortion. Judging it ain't going to help you. You could just judge all day. You could be a critic and just judge all day and let it drag you down. But when you know where you're at, you know where you're going. And that's exactly how plants grow. So it's like, now I know where I'm at. I'm in the vortex, but I'm choosing to be here. because I'm in a craft or a rocket that can easily jettison out of this with quite a few brothers and sisters with me. So we have to really understand that you created this. This is like your PlayStation. All of the bugs and the animals and the insects, your parents left it up to your recent ancestors to even put those together. Like I said, when they weren't thinking about Oculus Rift and they weren't thinking about PlayStation, actually they weren't thinking. They were knowing. And so the only thing that's happening for us right now is we're just one click away. We're one click. And the moment that thing clicks in place, which can happen for anyone, anytime they want. We're not waiting on 2012, 2020, or anybody else's dates. Anytime you're ready to line up, boom. Just like today, you're going to hear what you need to hear, but you hear it in a different way. It's like somebody could come with the same thing you've read. Powerful people, the Jordan Maxwells, everybody had something in there. The Daniel Winters, everybody had something, but it's also, well, what space are you in when this is coming to you? And if it's coming to you at that key point, which a lot of us are at that key point where it's pivotal to making the choice to choose yourself in this, that's where the expansion happens. So it's not just like, for me, data, even though I got it. Like if a person wants to go at it, 60 million at least, all decrypted, light codes left in the grid after the last shutdown of what happened here on Earth last time, which is another story. But I have that information. But what is it worth? That's the thing. It's like gold and diamonds. Like we leave. We don't take that stuff with us. Knowledge, even the brain gem stuff, that stuff doesn't go with us. What goes with us is the truth and the essence, and it's always us. So if we can live in that now, and that's why it's like everything is an incubation, everything's a stage. We can't believe for one moment that what's happening here isn't a grand design in our favor. And that's what it is. It's like, don't be surprised if when you're leaving here, all these draconians and all these whatever, the next enemy Illuminatis or whatever, just are waving like they're in costumes because they're all programs. Even a person themselves can just be living as a program or a script, acting like a character in a mainframe, doing only yes and no's like a binary code. A person can literally be that way, or they can jump into that next side of self, that wholeness, as we call it, and start really seeing that. You know what? I see how they always say that just learn from somebody else. Like my mom used to tell me earlier, when I was young, she always said, like, James, you need to learn how to learn from other people's mistakes. Man, I can say now is the greatest time because it's not a mistake, though. You got to realize some people went down paths to draw maps for us. And now we take that path and we look at it from the bird's eye view, which is the highest state of our consciousness, and we can see where we're going. But if we come at this at all from that old paradigm, dualistic, I'm judging you phase, you can judge me phase, how are you going to judge me when I don't even know myself? You don't even know you. How you judge me? It doesn't even make any sense. So this is where the empowerment comes in, because obviously the systems are designed to disempower. They're designed to push you down, to make you feel like you're just a citizen. This guy is over you, all this kind of stuff, right? So obviously that doesn't make sense anymore. And this is where the segue comes in truly. And it's like, okay, but here's the alternative. This is not just another glorious speech on another sanctimonious Sunday. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about first of all, if you're trying to get out of the vortex, if you start letting stuff out of the cargo, like all that baggage, like all that, the grief, even before all of that, because you're trying to go through the mind, just clean your colon. All that stuff is going to get the vibration up. And as sure as the planet exists, if you don't get to another level, the whole thing would just disappear, because it does work on specific mechanics. It does have it. See, they wanted us to believe that it's so you can't control it, and it's just we don't know where it goes. No, we know everything about this and more. All the knowledge that's here, how plants grow, how you can take radiolaria, seeds from the earth, patterns in your mind, how you can manifest and create things, bring them from the external worlds and into the internal, the male womb, the female womb, homunculus, parthenogenesis, being able, men becoming women, women becoming men and women living in the same body, hermaphrodites. All these different things are all what we're looking at. That's all our history. That's all our legacy. So instead of, let's say, that disempowering us, right, that's our fuel. And that's why I said it in the beginning of this conversation, giving thanks to the ancestors who are the DNA, who are the memories. Because do you know when a person gets really old, what do they have? Just their memories. And they can sit in those memories and smile and every single thing because they can actually tap back into the essence of energy that's in those memories.